10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined by the technician Chris Aceto once again on this December, can you believe it, dare I say December 3rd, 2018 evening. Chris, we are in the month of December, the last month of the year, and I can't believe it. Winding down.
Was I at your house last December or last February?
You come New Year's every day, every year, don't you?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I know I do, but it seems like I was there like 7 weeks ago.
I know. I feel like we were in Golden Corral just the other day.
You know,
and I can't.
Are they going to be open? I guess we're headed down. We probably, since we have no friends, that's my side of the family. We'll head over to the Palumbo's house sometime during my vacation.
Well, that's good. We have no friends either, so it'll.
I know you don't.
That's why we have to spend New Year's together. I will be. Where will be about 2 or 3 weeks? 2 weeks maybe post shoulder replacement surgery. So we'll see.
Speaking of shoulder replacement. You know, Guy Cisternino had the big shoulder powwow.
Oh, he had a shoulder surgery?
Both of them.
At the same time?
Well, close to it. And
he did one and the other?
Well, he came out looking like my 9-year-old, and then he's all blown up again. So, Guy, you're on the right track.
Oh, so he's recovered then?
Yeah, he's big again.
I hate to say it, but Guy, you're going to wind up just like me in another 15 years. You'll be doing shoulder replacements, but it's okay because you got a great career out of it, and you made some, and you're still going. So, but yeah, he's definitely gonna wind up just like me because he had the same surgeries I had like early in his career, to clean stuff up. And once you start cleaning stuff up in there, you get the ability to train again, the way you want. But you're basically just buying yourself time, and all the surgeons tell you that too.
Yeah, it's like an old car. Like when you bring the car in and you say, "Oh, come on, I don't want to get a new car. How long will it last?" And they say, "Well, we'll do the repair." Yeah. And you might get, you want them to say you get 10 years out of it.
No, you want them to say you're fit, you're cured. That's what you want them to say.
Yeah, it's as good as new. As good as new. You can drive this thing on the, NASCAR now. Yeah. You can go do 200-pound side laterals. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, he's not. It never gets better, because you know what it is. Normal people will just go back to doing normal stuff, not shoulder pressing 150-pound dumbbells and doing crazy stuff like that. And Guy's not going to slow down. So, and neither did I. And so it's funny because most people have you have cartilage and then synovial fluid in the joint that lubricates everything. My synovial fluid and cartilage were gone in 2002 probably or before. So for the last,
I'm glad you came up with a realistic time.
Yeah.
I thought you could say like 2009. I said no, Dave. I think in 2001, 2002 you had none left.
So the last 16 years I've been basically, my bone has been my lubricant basically. So when he went into the last shoulder, and I was told this before, there was not even any bone left. There was bone left, but it was worn down. Like how when you could rub metal together if long enough, it'll start wearing itself down. So the bone was so degenerated, I guess, and I had so much atrophy of the bone mass, and then they had to use a reverse shoulder on me, which is what I kind of explained. I have a feeling the other one's going to be the same, but we'll see. So that's the 17th. But I'm leaving this Wednesday for Dubai. So.
Oh, this Wednesday?
Yeah. So for the Dubai Muscle Show, which is
that's right.
Seems to be a star-studded event. I got this text message from Aaron Singerman the other day, who's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were going to Dubai." He's like, because you don't travel that much. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to be covering. I'll be interviewing people at the show." And blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Oh, I'm having a party Friday night at my room. Get together. It's 16,000 square feet. The room he's got." I said, "That's a pretty big room." He's like, "Oh, everyone's going to be there, Kai and this one and that one." And I said, "Jay." And I said, "Well," he's like, "Oh, yeah, make sure you come by." So I'll come by. I'll say hello. So I might be doing maybe the Aaron Singerman interviews might be more interesting than the ones I actually do up on stage, because maybe people will be a little more relaxed in his 16,000 square foot room. And I could probably set up a little area to do interviews because it's so big, the room, right? It probably has a separate little...
Yeah, should have a free bar, free cash bar, whatever you call it, if it's 16,000 square feet.
There should be some place I can set up a microphone system, and you probably wouldn't even hear the people in the rest of the room because it's so big, right?
Yeah, Kai will be there, but he won't interview with you.
No, he already agreed. He has to. Well, he has to in the expo because that's part of the deal. But
okay, good.
So we'll see.
Well,
Maybe
we know
get
what you
big
can ask him. We know what you can ask him anyway.
Yeah.
I'd say Chris says Roden will beat him anyway, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask him. Yeah, he'll give me some. He'll give me some. He'll give
political
me
answer. Politician.
He won't give me a political answer. He'll give me a very spiritual answer, which can be construed as a political answer.
It's still political.
It's political.
Political, just a political way where you can't be pressed because you can hide behind, philosophy or.
Here's a conundrum.
How about this? How about this for philosophy? Yes or no?
Yeah. Here's the conundrum, as Kai would say. If you answer, should you answer very like Jay would say, of course I'll beat him, or do you not want to come off sounding cocky and instead you give this very flamboyant answer where you're actually looking at both sides of the coin and weighing. See, that's what Kai does. Kai weighs all the options out loud as he's answering your questions, rather than most people would just run all that stuff through their head and then come up with an answer. Kai gives you his thought process that goes along, which can be interesting sometimes. Because sometimes it gives you a bird's eye view into the mindset of Kai Greene, which for some people is interesting, some people it's scary, but Kai is Kai. So, but it'll be interesting to talk to him. I haven't spoken to him since what was that show we were at in John Enrico Pica's show.
Since your synovial fluid.
Since my synovial fluid was still flowing, yeah.
No, I mean an interview. When's the last time you interviewed him?
On a video camera, it's been a while, but I've interviewed him in the back of cars, just talking to him, and he was he was good. I wish I would have taped that. It would have been the most interesting thing people ever heard.
Well, that's always the case that's called being off the record.
Yeah,
it's kind of like our show before it starts.
I need to do one of these Joe Rogan 4-hour interviews with Kai, because it'll take me about an hour and a half to kind of loosen him up a little bit, right?
Yeah, say this is.
then I'll be talking really freely for the next 2 hours, and then we'll have an hour summation, of everything. We'll have to review everything that went on over the first 3 hours and sum it up. But it would be, I think it would probably be, everyone would probably watch listen to every minute of it. So. Well,
you can give him a red Conjob martini or something at the
red Con martini.
At the 16,000 square foot suite, and then that may loosen him up.
I'm sure Aaron will only have top shelf alcohol there because that's all he drinks. Did I ever tell you the story when he's told the story, but him and I were in. I'm trying to think where we were. I want to say Poland, not Poland, Prague. I think we were in Prague. And we were in this hotel. It was like a castle. It was like an old converted castle. It was probably 500 years old. And we were in the lounge. And he's like, let's get a couple shots. I said, all right, whatever. I said, we're in a foreign country. You got to drink vodka, right, in this country. Yeah. So Aaron orders well, I think you usually start with one shot, right? Aaron starts with 3.
Triple London.
No, 3 in 3 cups. It wasn't just in one cup. It was 3 shots, and I had one.
Yeah.
And I already was feeling it after one. And then he did another 3, and I did 1, and I was good.
But he only takes 100 milligrams of test a month.
Aaron has the highest tolerance for alcohol that I've ever seen.
You told me that before, actually.
It's pretty impressive. He says
what's he attest that to?
He attested to all the years of his heroin usage that he was on earlier in his life when he was, he was going down the wrong path, and then I think he said he just lost his he just doesn't respond to drugs and alcohol the same way anymore ever since that. So he has to do a lot more to get the same effect.
The bar has been set high.
Yeah, I said, I do a one shot, and I'm you would think that I drank a whole bottle or something like that. Mm. So, anyway, so I'll be there. I got, it's getting to the point where I have too many activities planned already because I'm not going to be there that long, and I know I'm going to be tired the first day I get there. I get to the airport at like 12:15 or 12:30 in the afternoon, and I got events. All these people who want to meet up with me.
You're going to get no rest.
No,
none there.
Or I'll just fall asleep somewhere. I don't know. So we're supposed to go, and I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't even say where I might go. I might go to on a special little tour. I don't want to say what it is because I'm not really sure myself. Let me see.
It's got to be snake related.
No, it's not. It's not.
Zoo related.
No, it's not.
It'll
probably involve. I'm sure there'll be some animals involved. But on Friday night after the expo, that's when Aaron's party is. I was supposed to go to the Burj or the mall there that has the big shark tank in it. You ever see that on YouTube, Bernie?
The Burj. I told Hanny Pink he's probably listening from Egypt. I was buying the Burj, but go ahead.
I want to go to the Burj because the Burj is the tallest building in the world, so I should go to that and go to the top level at some point while I'm there. Because just
you
to
can
say
see my house from the Burj, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
But just to say I did. I might be able to see Rami's house from there.
Well, in Dubai, you might be able to see. You probably see him and Neil.
So Neil actually talked to him, although because I said, Neil, can you ask Rami if I can, while I'm in Dubai, if I can interview him, and he said, yeah, sure. So he asked him. He said, yeah. So I don't know if I have to go to Rami's house or how it works, but we'll see if that works out or pans out. And so I'm going to be going. I'd like to go to the Burj, and I'd like to go to that mall, the Dubai Mall, which has, I think it's the biggest fish tank in the world in there.
There you go. I knew you. I knew you.
You have to go there. They have sharks like swimming over your head. It's like it's a crazy tank. If anyone hasn't seen it, you can go to like YouTube and just put the Dubai Mall fish tank in there. It's absolutely wacky, insane. It's like they built an ocean in the mall. I can't even imagine the weight that glass that the tank is made of, or it's probably acrylic, is supporting. It's just unfathomable almost. And it's funny how the actual mall doesn't sink into the sand with all that weight on it, you would think.
Yeah.
Because literally it's like having an ocean over hanging over your head there. So that's just a crazy thing that.
So you leave on Wednesday and you come back.
Leave Wednesday. I get there Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
I have a couple, like I said, I have a couple things on Thursday planned. Then I have the Friday and Saturday, I guess, are the expo all day. I'll be there interviewing people, chatting with people. And then Friday night, I'm going to hopefully, I guess I'm going to Aaron's thing. And then Saturday night after the thing, I might have time to go eat dinner. I don't know. I have to leave at 3 a.m. So for the airport or something like that. Or my flight's at 3 a.m. Something crazy like that. I know I have to leave really early to catch a flight. Early Sunday morning, and then I actually get back on Sunday afternoon, you get back like almost the same time you left, but then I have to drive 3 hours from Orlando back to my house. So I'm driving, to Orlando because it's a direct flight because I don't want to make any connections. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want any aggravation. I want to get on one plane. I'd rather sit in the car for 3 hours and drive it like you do. Sure. I'm pulling the Chris Aceto.
No.
You do that just because
I do buses.
Oh, you do buses.
I don't want to miss stuff.
No, buses are even worse. Too much aggravation because I'm always afraid I'm going to miss the bus. You can get to the bus stop, and I'll drive. I can sit in my car. I'll drink the only time I do stimulants, Chris, is when I'm driving because I don't want to fall asleep at the wheel. That's one fear I have. I'd rather drink a little caffeine than
oh, heavy duty stimulant. Wow.
I don't do stimulants. I have an arrhythmia, Chris. I don't want to have a heart attack and die.
That's right.
Dave has a heart arrhythmia because his heart is so big because of all the drugs he has used during his. Chris sent me. I don't know if anyone saw my Instagram. Chris sent me a picture he found of myself of me.
It's a wacky front lat spread. It's just like...
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think it was from 96. And he's like, oh, you would have won the Nationals this year. I'm like, no, I would have probably placed third.
I said they would have been grooming you for the Arnold.
I said I would have placed third. I would have missed.
How much you weigh there? 248?
No, I was 268 there.
Wow. See? Yeah. Then it was, I thought the pitch was just filtered from 20 years ago.
I could tell what year it is by how much hair I have. That's usually the way I
yeah.
So I still have a good head of hair there. So that'd be 96. I think that was the year that I competed at the Nationals with Jay, and it was I believe I was fourth that year. Jay won. Tom Prince second. Orville Burke third.
Was it what a top four, huh?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
and that was before Orville really got crazy. Yeah, he was just starting to get good. Oscar was just starting to get him.
Oh, was Oscar with him back then?
I think Oscar was working with him. Yeah, that was an Oscar machination there. A lot of people ask me where Orville Burke is and how he's doing, and I don't know, to tell you the truth. I know he's alive. You know, he had that surgery after he won. Was it after he did? I think he was top 6 at the Olympia, right? And then he had surgery on his tricep. He had torn. He tore a tricep. He got surgery, and he had a complication. He never got the surgery, and he went into like some kind of a coma or something like that during from the anesthesia or something like that. He had some kind of reaction, and I know he was suffering from some kind of brain injury or brain oxygen deprivation. I don't know what happened. I know there was a lot of praying involved, and he did survive, but I haven't really talked to him. I would love to interview him at some point if possible, but
yeah, you should, Dave. You really should.
He was one of the rising stars. Everyone thought, this guy's going to be, competing for the Olympia for years.
Coleman type muscle, right?
Yeah. He was wacky. He had very high lats, but he had that crazy width and small waist.
Yeah.
Which was it was surreal looking, actually.
With the thigh sweep too, right?
Yeah, he had good quads too. He had very good.
He looked like he had the Jimmy quads that were so sweeped out.
Yeah. The funny thing about Orville Burke was that back in the day when I was competing and he was competing, he sucked because he could never get in shape, and you always saw like, oh my god, this guy's got a crazy structure. If he ever puts it together, it's all over. And he would be losing shows, and I'm like, this guy should be winning all these local shows, and I'm like, he's just not in shape. He's not hard. He probably was using like 100 milligrams of testosterone a week. That was it, probably, to get all that. So I had beaten him a bunch of times, and then we did that nationals, and that was the first year he really kind of came into his own, and got in shape. And I think that's because Oscar got a hold of him, but. He was a freak. He was walking around at 300 pounds after. I mean, he was a guy who wasn't really, didn't have like that huge structure. He was broad, but he was like small waisted and small jointed.
Yeah.
And he got up to 300 pounds at some point. I remember seeing him at a show, and I was like, he was in one of those Max Charles like 6X sweatshirts, and it was just like he was filling the whole thing out. It was wacky looking. He was huge. He looked like an airplane because he had those really wide lats.
Yeah, no, he was huge. He was right on the cusp. What did he get? He won. What do you want?
Night of Champions.
Yes, he did. He's right.
He was top 6 at the Olympia. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. He actually was one of the nicest guys you ever meet too. He's just like a super cool guy. I mean, just down to earth. Never badmouthed anyone. Just was very quiet. And just did his thing, loved bodybuilding, and things were going good for him. Like I said, you never know when something's going to happen.
Forget it, you never know.
So Chris gave me this picture, so I put it up on Instagram, and everyone's, very, very kind, saying all kinds of nice stuff. So that was cool. Sometimes it's good. I don't even, the funny thing is, I don't even know where half of all my pictures are, because most of them are in the photographers shot all these pictures, and you don't see them all. They disappear.
No, they don't. Yeah, that was in the days where they had to develop them.
Yeah, well, they're in file cabinets of all the magazines that don't exist anymore. So
yeah, they're at Lacey Rich's house. Do you know Lacey Rich? Do you know Lacey Rich?
No.
You don't know Lacey Rich? Okay. We know this show reaches a lot of people. If somebody emails you, Dave, about Lacey Rich, if someone's out there and knows Lacey Rich, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Probably.
I don't even know how I remembered that name.
Probably
it's
Jerry
like a Ted
Scalise
Dixon
knows.
name. It's like a Ted Dixon.
Oh,
name.
it is? Okay. All right.
No, yeah, but he used to develop. Anyways, I'm not even gonna.
Was he a photographer?
Like a good.
Like a schmo photographer?
Yeah. Well, no, he developed pictures for people.
Oh.
So he had the lock. If you were a top body, like if you were like Platz or Gaspari,
right,
or Lee Haney, Rachel McLish, Samir knows him for sure. We should call Samir now and ask him about it. I should get him on the phone. You would have to go to Lacey Rich's like apartment / something studio in like Hollywood or West Hollywood or wherever he lived, and Lacey would like print up these pictures for you. Like 8x10s that bodybuilders sold.
Oh, and if he liked you get a good deal on him, probably, right?
Well, no, but I mean, you would always get a good deal because that was the schmoness part of him. Gotcha. Is that okay? Dave Palumbo's coming over. He needs 500 photos. He's going to Europe. He's gonna sell these for $10. I'm gonna sell them to him for like 80 cents.
That's fine. You brought him.
But I gotta Dave's going to listen to all my bullshit for an hour first. That's the trap.
So if you listen to it, you got a better price.
Well, he just engorged himself with bodybuilders' lives, and everyone knew him.
Yeah. Well, he reminds me of another guy because on the New York side of things, there was an agency in Manhattan. It was originally called Lights Camera Flex. Mike Lyons.
Mike Lyons.
Right. Mike Lyons started it.
There you go.
And I got a lot of work from them. I used to go into the city a couple days a week for interviews, for auditions. Excuse me. And I got a bunch of stuff. I was in one of the Batman movies. Yeah, I've talked about all that stuff in the past.
Mike would talk to you closely, right? You'd have to back up.
Mike was, yeah. But I always, I had no problem with Mike. Some people had problems with him, but then Mike went to work and combined forces with Adam Silver of Silver Agency. Now they're HM something or another. I forget the name of it. So anyway, actually, Mike just had a heart attack, believe it or not. I saw on Facebook, so I'm going to wish him a quick healing. And I heard he flatlined, and they actually had to bring him back.
Wow.
So Mike's...
How old is he now?
Mike is one of these guys that looked like he was 60, like when he was actually 40, and now he's like probably 60, and he looks 60.
Yeah.
He didn't age. So he was always a little overweight. So I hope he watches his health, because he's a good guy. Like I said, I always had nothing but good stuff to say about him. We got along really well. He got me a lot of work, and we made money together. So I have nothing bad. But anyway, he had a guy in the city, this guy Paul. And when you start going for auditions, you need a comp card with your pictures on it. So I remember after one of my shows, I went in there, and this guy Paul shot a whole bunch of pictures in different outfits and stuff like that, and then he put it all together. And then he took the pictures, and I went to this guy Israel. Israel was the Lacey Rich of New York City. Israel had you had to walk up like 3 flights of steps, and it was like this little studio. It was so packed. There was like no room to move and nowhere to sit. It was always people waiting there for pictures. All the people in the city who were actors would go there and have their comp cards made by him. He had everyone's comp card all over the place. Like if you had a comp card, he would put it on the wall if he liked you. And seriously, there was tons of actors like you would know on there, and it was just covered. It was an insane asylum there. This is before you can go online and buy the stuff.
This is Lacey Rich's house.
Yeah, it's Lacey Rich. Yeah, I can imagine totally. And Israel had this thick. I'm assuming I think he was Israeli. Obviously, he had this thick accent, and he hated everyone. He would scream at everyone. And for some reason, I don't know why he liked me. There was something about me, and he even told me, because I don't know why I like you, because I hate everyone. Because something I like about you. And so I would. If I sent someone there and they said Dave Palumbo sent me, because we became friends after a while, he would take care of them. But everyone else, he screamed, and people didn't care, because he was the only place you can get your pictures made at a reasonable price. They were like really cheap, these comp cards. I mean, because if you had to buy them professionally, you would be paying a couple dollars each, and you had to give these things away every time you went for an audition. You had to give them a comp card. It was like a sheet of paper with your pictures, different pictures on it, and all your stats and everything like that. And so people would kiss his ass, and he knew that. So he would.
Oh yeah, he would use his leverage.
It was like the soup.
It would allow him to be an idiot.
Right. It was like the soup Nazi. He would be like, "Sit down over there. Yeah. If you move, no pictures."
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And people would. He was really hard on the women. These girls would leave crying, like
he probably didn't like them.
Tears. He would tear them apart. And probably a lot of these women went on to become famous actresses, but. He would tear them apart, and I was always chuckling to myself. I'm like, Israel, come on, calm down already. I'm getting anxiety from being in here. He's like, how about you? I don't make you wait. Do I make you wait? I said, you never make me wait. I said, but you're making these people, you're making them nuts. He goes, they make me nuts. So that's where we got all the pictures done. I completely blocked all that out. So he just brought up Lacey Rich. So I guess he was the West Coast version.
Yeah.
But isn't it funny how all these guys are out of business now because of online? Everything online now. They used to print it right there in the city. You would smell the smell of ink when you would walk in through there, which I loved, by the way. I thought that was really cool. Now you go on Lulu, or you go on what's the other one called? There's a million of these little sites you go on online. You upload your stuff. You can design your own cards. You can. Everything is dummy proof. You can do it from your phone. You don't even have to do it on a computer anymore. And as long as you have your images, and you can make anything you want. It's great, and it's cheap. And there's so many sites to compete with each other. And the funny thing is, they're all in Canada. I don't know why Canada is so cheap to print it. Maybe because the dollar's strong there. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, it could be, right? The conversion rate.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, the conversion rate? The exchange rate.
Exchange rate is very favorable for us.
It's nice to go on vacations where I was just thinking that with the exchange rate's really strong, you can get a hotel for
It seems like the dollar is stronger than every other currency.
It is right now. It's
I don't know
very,
how.
very
I thought
strong.
we were always the worst. Now we're like the best.
It's all relative. It's like, but if you're ripped to the bone, you stand next to someone who's ripped. They don't look,
So ripped.
Yeah, so we're doing okay, and even though we're up in debt, the world's in debt up to its eyeballs, but...
Yeah, how come the dollar's so strong if we owe so much money all over the place? That's what I don't understand.
Because other people's economies are technically worse.
Yeah, it's possible. So I was watching, I don't know if you've seen this movie. If you haven't, you got to watch it. It's on Netflix. It's called, it's one of the Marvel movies. It's called Thor Ragnarok. And it's one of the most recent ones. They got a couple before after that, but it's about Thor. It's like a movie about Thor, but in the movie is the Hulk. The Hulk's in the movie. So my son is obsessed with the Hulk,
Oh, I know he is.
Now he knows about Thor, too. He's pretty obsessed with him, too. But the Hulk actually talks in the movie. He's as the Hulk, he talks, not as Bruce Banner.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to fight Thor in this one scene. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's worth watching. It's really well done and funny, and the Hulk is very funny. And I believe, if I remember correctly from interviewing Lou Ferrigno, I think that it's Lou's voice is doing the Hulk. Hulk this, Hulk that, Hulk this, and Hulk is funny. He's got like a sense of humor.
It's out now.
It's Thor. Yeah, it's in Netflix. It was probably it came out 2 years ago, but it was.
Look at me, I'm 2 years too late. It's out now, like it's at the movies.
But it's one of these movies you don't. I mean, if you know a lot about this series, that you might get some of the inside jokes, but you can watch it. You don't need to know anything about the series really to watch it. I've seen a lot of the other previous movies, but I haven't watched the most recent ones. But this one was, it's great. It's really good, and I like the guy who plays Thor is great. He's really good and authentic. And they got, you'll love this. Jeff Goldblum plays some crazy part, like he's like a Richard Dawson type of game show host. And I don't want to give it away. You watch it. It's worth
I'll
it.
watch with my kids on vacation.
Even if you scan a part ahead just to get to the Hulk and the Thor scene, it's worth it.
No, we'll watch it. We'll watch the whole thing.
Your kids will love it. So my son loves it. So we watch it over and over and over again. I fast
That's
forward.
what they. How old is Logan?
He's going to be 3 in January.
Okay, that's the perfect age to watch the same movies like 500 times.
Yeah, because he doesn't. He can't really sit and watch a movie. He doesn't have anything. But what I do is I commentate, so that he has a better understanding of what's going on. Now that he's seen it so many times, he commentates to me now a little bit, as much as he can. But he gets all excited.
You do the play-by-play.
Yeah,
for the movie.
I'm like, look, Hulk just did this, and Hulk smashed him, but Thor, look, Thor's got the power of the thunder in him now. I get him so excited. Like he thinks it's like it makes the movie that much even better watching me, announce the movie. And like I said, Jeff Goldblum is really funny in the movie, even though he plays a bad guy. He's just funny. So hey, I don't want to ruin, but it was worth watching it. So, but anyway, the point was that Lou Ferrigno voices the Hulk, and so it was pretty cool. Just because I know Lou's voice, I definitely know that was his voice. And he had told us that he had done it. So I didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, I was the voice of Hulk. I thought he just did Hulk smash, one time in the movie. I'm like, all right, great, Lou. You did that in the last movie. But he actually has a lot of lines. You don't see Lou, obviously, but the Hulk actually looks like Lou a little. I think, sometimes they animate these characters to look like the person
they do.
who speaks them. He has like a crew cut now, the Hulk. He doesn't have the long hair anymore. I liked it. You'll like it. You'll get it. Next time after you watch it, you'll tell me, Dave, it was worth watching it for sure. All right. So what else did I want to talk? Oh, so anyway, so I saw that you posted a picture on your Instagram with you and Samir Bannout back in Qatar.
Yeah. Before Rami was born, we were in Qatar.
Or Qatar, right? Is that
Qatar. Yes.
And what? Now you have told the story before. What were you guys doing there again?
We were spreading the brotherhood of bodybuilding. We went to do appearances and seminars, and we were there forever. We were there for like 6 weeks.
But it's a weird combo, you and Samir. Why did they pick you and Samir?
Well, Samir picked me, which is even more bizarre.
Okay, I see. So he wanted someone who was going to be able to give knowledge out.
Yeah, and he wanted someone he could get along with too.
Oh, I see. So you guys had a good relationship?
So we had a good relationship. We had so much fun there, Dave. It was insanity.
I'm sure they treated you like kings there, probably.
Oh, like kings, and it was like the one, like that movie When We Were Kings with the two kings, and Samir was just, I mean, a blast. Samir was a blast to be around.
What were the meals like? When you would get out, what were they feeding you?
Oh, it's funny that you should say, because we went to like the first someone picked us up. We sat at a table with 40 people on each side of the table.
Right.
And each foot and a half there was a lamb.
Yeah, they give they give you a lot of food in these restaurants. Yeah.
Oh God, this was someone's house.
Was it really? Oh my God.
Yes. And Dave, the lamb, I swear, and I don't have.
They probably killed it 5 minutes before you ate it.
Tell me about it. And I must have eaten sitting down the first time. I have pictures of it, 3, 4, 5 pounds of lamb, just right from the get go.
You probably gained more muscle being in Qatar for a week than you did your whole life, because all they did was feed you probably there.
Yeah, so it was me and Samir, and we stayed at the Sheraton Doha Hotel.
Which was probably the only hotel in all of Qatar at the time, right?
Well, there was the Oasis Hotel, if you could believe. I can remember that. We started there. Or we eventually switched to the Oasis.
Which was the one that you said Ed Connors designed?
That's why I brought it up, the Sheraton.
Okay.
The Sheraton was maybe a 10-story pyramid-looking hotel. Mm-hmm. And if you were looking from maybe a half a mile away, the only building on the horizon was the Sheraton.
Wow.
So when I went back,
years later,
years later, 92, 202, 15, 18 years later, I said, "Where's the Sheraton?" And they said, "Over there." And it was it was like a blade of grass amongst trees.
You couldn't even tell where.
Couldn't even see. I'm like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "That's it right there," But at this small world was that I went back and I said, Ed, I said, "Hey Ed, I was in Qatar," and he's like, "Nobody knows where Qatar is." And I said, yeah. He says, "I do." And I said, "Why?" He said, I designed the Sheraton Hotel there.
How did the people in Qatar even get in touch with him to do that?
I think because he was an architect and it was his firm. His firm did it.
Okay.
I think they were in Connecticut at the time, maybe. But it's a beautiful hotel.
That's crazy. That's a good story, though. So
you just walked around into different gyms, and can you imagine? I was with Samir, and he'd have a string of tank top on every day, and he'd do it was crazy.
Was he posing in the street, so to speak?
Nonstop. I mean, think it was it was still 92. He still looked crazy every single day. That's some bodybuilders a week after the show they look terrible.
Right. He always looks good.
Samir looked peeled 24/7. He looked full and hard and ripped. And he was not shy. Every single workout that we would do, he would end the workout with half-hour poses.
Wow.
He looked crazy.
And you probably loved it. It was probably.
Oh, I would love it. I would.
Did you? But at the time, did you know at that point, by that date, that 92 was still, you were very young, but did you know that Samir was kind of half knew what he was talking about? He just was a genetic freak.
Well, I knew that.
Or were you still trying to soak him for information?
No. I knew that Samir could win the Olympia. The Samir that I knew and was with daily in maybe it was 91, 92. Who won the Olympia in 92?
That was the first year Dorian won.
Was it?
Yeah.
Who won it in 91? Haney?
Haney, yeah.
I mean,
over Dorian.
Samir was for sure a top 4 Mr. Olympia guy 300 days out of the year.
The only time he wasn't a Mr. Olympia guy was at the Mr. Olympia.
No, I'm serious. On that trip, or running up to that trip, or running up to
why did he have so many problems after that '83 Olympia winning, getting back to his old shape again?
I think he was diagnosed. Ask him with an aldosterone issue or adrenal cortex issue.
Oh, that's legitimate then.
Yeah. He said his physique. One of the best quotes ever. He said, "Chris," he said, "really, my my physique is like the stock market. And seriously, he says 9 a.m. it's up, 9 p.m. it's down. And that was true. Listen, Dave, I could wake up with him in the hotel at 7 a.m. and just a regular day.
Right.
You know,
were you in the same room as him?
No, but we'd have adjoining rooms. You know, he'd do this. Chris, you got to see this. I'm telling you. And I'd come flying over.
He had a pose for you? Oh, my God.
Every morning. And he'd be like ripped. And then by like 4 o'clock, he'd be like a water buffalo.
Was there ever one time where Samir said to you, "Hey, Chris, can you pose for me? Let's see what you look like"?
No. It's always... He'd say, actually, he'd do it. He'd say, Chris acetate. That's what he'd call me, Chris acetate, for primo acetate.
Oh, instead of aceto.
That was the nickname. Chris. He still calls me that to this day.
Would there be any like what was I going to say? Were they giving you back then? Were they handing you like drugs, like bags full of drugs back then? Because I know it was all legal then.
No, because it was like the outliers. I mean, it was like, so, you know, people didn't even know in those days in that part of the world. Dennis James hadn't come to be the, you know, to the Middle East yet and trained everyone. Right? Because isn't Dennis have credited with having come over there and spent a lot of time? And,
I don't know, yeah. Something like that.
So it was just me and Samir, and people were clueless, you know?
People were clueless. Because I told you, when I went to Dubai in '96, they knew everything about drugs. They knew nothing about nutrition, but they knew everything about drugs. And there was tons of them there, tons. And if it wasn't made there, it didn't matter. They were bringing it in from India. You know, they had a lot of Indian stuff there, but there was all over. There was, you know, because it wasn't illegal. It was like calling up and, you know, saying I want to order, you know, 10 cases of protein. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
exactly. I want species. What do you want? You want banana cream species, or do you want the, you know, double chocolate chip? Give us both.
Yeah, I was walking around paranoid. They're like, "Would you relax? They're like, the stuff's legal here." I'm like, "Oh, it is." I'm like, they're like, "Yeah, no one cares." They're like, "No one cares. You could bring it in the gym. No one gives a shit about it. It's not illegal." I said, wow, what a difference, you know, from going from the United States where you have to walk around paranoid, you know, and whisper and you know, call people from payphones. You know, it was funny. I was just mentioning, we were talking about payphones. There's no payphones anymore, right? There's no payphones.
No, there's not. You see them once in, like, I mean, my father used to have a payphone on his property.
Oh, really?
On a commercial property, and he used to make like 100. I used to think, he used to make like $120 a month just from that payphone.
Wow, just from people coming there putting quarters in it?
Yeah, putting quarters in there.
Or it was dimes originally.
Because people would, I mean, there were no cell phones, so people would be on it 24/7.
Think about it. Some people had to come service those phones. They had to come and actually empty the money out of the phones. You know, it was. Think about how many jobs went out because of the loss of payphones. Imagine those. Remember those payphones? I don't know if you ever saw them in Manhattan. They would have these disgusting, like, because the payphones, people don't even know what we're talking about. Payphones were in the middle of the street, basically, and you could they would just be in the middle of nowhere. They used
to have them tons in Manhattan, everywhere.
And people were always on them. They were nonstop because all the drug dealers would use them, the prostitutes, and all the people who wanted to do things that didn't want to be traced. You know. And so people were always on payphones, and
it was like before WhatsApp, there were payphones.
Yeah, and they'd be like, you know, sometimes you'd call someone in desperation, and they'd be like, you know, deposit like, you know, $4.60, and like, who the hell has $4.60 in change? There was no credit card swiper on there. You had to put fucking go to the grocery store and get change and start popping quarters in there, you know.
Yeah.
And then it would run out, and then they'd be like, "Okay, you have 10 seconds left. Deposit another 40 cents." And you're like, "I don't have any more money left," and that would be the end of the phone call. You know, it was crazy.
Well, my phone book came the other day. It was like 4 pages.
I don't even know why anyone would even advertise in the phone book anymore. But I guess the same reason why people would still advertise in muscle magazines. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. But anyway, yes. I don't even know how we got into talking about all this, to be honest.
Well, we were talking about the picture of me and Samir in Doha.
Oh, right. So, yeah. So people,
it started with your picture that we had seen when I said you'd win the Arnold this year.
Yeah.
And then it segued into the picture of me and Samir in Doha. I remember flying in for that trip. It was like you were flying into rural Maine. There were like no lights, and I'm like, the plane is landing. I'm like, where? Where's the runway?
I got news for you, right? Qatar is built up today just as much as Dubai is.
Of course, maybe more.
Yeah, crazy stuff going on there. And so anyway, so one of our listeners said, I guess they had seen on the Facebook, on your Instagram, and they said, well, does Chris have any really good stories with Samir there? And so, I mean, you've been telling stories. I don't know. Is there anything you left out, like a story that maybe was very memorable?
Greatest story ever. Greatest story. Well, not the greatest story, but we went out and stayed on a farm, an olive farm one time. It's like out in the boondocks. And
they grow olives in the Middle East?
Yeah. It was like me, Samir, and like 20 other people who wanted to compete, like a bunch of bodybuilders. We all went and stayed at this guy's farm. Mm-hmm. And someone had a camcorder, giant. Remember the camcorders? Giant, sure. Crazy camcorders? Mm-hmm. And people were just joking nonstop the whole entire trip. And someone took it, a little bit too far with Samir.
Right.
Samir was tired. He was sleeping. He was snoring, and he was sleeping on his back. And someone found on this farm, Dave, a spider the size of a lobster. And I mean, I just saw the thing, and it freaked me out.
Right.
And they took the spider, and they put it on his chest.
Oh my God! Who knew if it could have been poisonous for all they know?
Well, yeah, that's right. So they said, Samir, wake up. Samir, wake up, Samir. He's like, oh, he's coming to, yeah. And he's like looking up at people.
Yeah.
And then he saw that thing on his chest, and he just lost it. He went through the roof, And then he was pissed, but he was pissed for a long period of time, so it was like a joke gone too far.
Right.
And somebody came in and said, Samir, calm down. They said, I get news for you. They said, the spiders in our country, no matter how big they are, they're not deadly. And so that calmed Samir down a little bit.
Sure.
And then they said, unfortunately, Samir, that spider is from Saudi Arabia, which is the country next door.
Like the joke didn't stop. It just wouldn't stop, yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's funny. That's really funny. Speaking of pranks, I did another interview with Sean the Dinosaur Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Part 2.
I know who Sean Davis is.
Yeah. I had done part 1 a couple weeks ago, and it was really popular.
How old is he? I do that with everyone. How old are they?
He's got to be my age, and I think he's 52, and he had a kidney transplant 10 years ago.
Yeah, big arms.
Oh,
big
yeah.
He's
335. He was a big, big dude.
Pre-oil too.
Yeah, no, he was legitimately huge, and he he had just had a pacemaker put in about a year ago. He had a weird arrhythmia, and then he just had another. Like they had to put another lead in because both chambers of his heart were like first they put one in because his ventricle wasn't contracting right, and then. Now they had to put another one in because his atrium wasn't. But anyway, he's doing fine. That's not the story. So the second time we got him back on, I wanted to talk about stories, funny stories. The first time was kind of about his career, and he told a great story about how Lee Priest and who was it? Lee Priest. Oh, and Sean Davis. They were eating. They pranked Nasser. They were at that European tour. They would go in all these different countries, and I guess Nasser would never sit with anyone. Oh, I don't want to sit with these.
He's better than everyone.
Oh, yes, right. These people, they disgust me.
I also want to sit with like the Nobel Peace Prize winner or something.
Right. Not that the Nobel Prize the guy wanted to sit with him, but anyway, so he would sit alone. And so I guess Lee and Sean, it was probably instigated more by Lee than Sean, but anyway, Sean took credit for it too. They sent over like a bowl of ice cream to Nasser. And I guess the waiter delivers it. Nasser's like, "What are you doing? Why would you bring me? I did not order the ice cream. I'm competing. I'm a professional athlete. And is this a joke? Who sent it over?" And they point over to like Lee and Sean. They like waved back to Nasser, and he's like, "Oh, you jokers! They are jokers. They did not take this seriously, and that is why they don't do well, and why Lee."
Yeah, I knew that was coming next. That's why I beat them.
This is why Lee is a joke, and he starts going crazy. He's like, Nasser was so pissed off at this, like he couldn't even laugh, about the no sense of humor. So anyway, there was a whole bunch of stories. So if you guys like stories about the old, the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, really the 90s, early into 2000s, great Nasser stories, great Dillette story. There was a bunch of good stories that Sean told on there. I was laughing my ass. I haven't heard a lot of them, and I guess when you're on the tour with these guys, they all there's a lot of Nasser stories. They all as much as Nasser didn't like anyone, when Nasser needed something, he pretended he was your best friend. And I guess Sean Davis obviously lived in UK. And we were all going to be, the European tour, they would go to 40 different, 6 different countries in or 10 different countries in 7 days or something like that. So they were stopping in the UK to do something, a tour. And so they all we need food. We need to get food. And so Sean tried to be nice. Like, well, you guys can come to my place. I have a little hot plate at the gym and we could, cook up some food or whatever. So they go to the supermarket and they're buying all this food. And I forget someone bought all the chicken or something like that. I think it might have been Nasser. No one else had any chicken left, and they were all screaming at each other. And so they get back, and when they get to the gym, Nasser's like, "Okay, you will cook the chicken now." And somehow Sean got turned into the fucking cook. It was nice, and he said, "I only had a hot plate." He goes, and there was 10 pounds of chicken I had to cook or more. And he said it took forever because it's only how a hot plate cooks.
Oh yeah. Cook one breast at a time.
Yeah.
Then you need the right you need the right hookup. You know what I mean?
Right.
To plug into their plugs.
Sure. And then Nasser called him once. He's like, he had to be in. I don't know if he got stuck there or he had to be there. He's like, Sean, I need you to get me. He needed him to get him drugs. Oh, what? No, it might not have been Nasser. No, who asked him to get drugs for him? And he wanted a ton of them too. So maybe it was Sonny Schmidt, I think. Sonny Schmidt wanted he's like, can you get me, Sean probably figured out, they need a couple, a week's worth of stuff, a couple vials of test here. How much do you need? Oh, Sonny Schmidt's like 4 years worth of stuff he wanted him to get. I said, how is he going to bring it back with him to Australia? That's the hardest place to get anything in, right? He's like, I don't know. I didn't ask.
Should be. Maybe use it all.
That's what Sean said. I said, I think he was using it all. I said, holy shit. Funny stories. So that's up on RxMuscle.com right now. You can check out it's called, I think Sid named it, Nasser Pranked by Lee Priest. Sean Davis interview part 2. Really, really funny. I got to get Sean back again because Sean's a funny dude. He's got the UK sense of humor. And he was just having a ball. He's like, Dave, back then I was so happy to be with these guys, in the same, because he was a NABA guy, I guess.
Yeah, I knew he was a NABA
Dorian
guy.
was the IFBB. They both came up at the same time. Dorian won that, and he won the NABA universe. And, they were trying to make the two of them, square off against each other because Sean was bigger than Dorian. A lot of people didn't realize he was huge. And I guess it finally did happen, but Sean was not as good as Dorian was just dialed in, just way too good.
Yeah, Sean just had the big arms and delts.
Yeah, and Sean just was, like I said, Sean was really happy just to be hanging out with these guys. That's how he was he's like, I was having a ball. This is great. He worked for Prolab with Lee. That's how they knew each other. Him and Lee both worked for Prolab, and they would go travel all over the world together, basically doing appearances. Prolab was big back in the 90s. And so,
yeah, who started Prolabs?
I don't remember who was.
They used to send me free stuff because they were in Connecticut.
Yeah, they had a big facility there. I don't even know what happened to them, but I guess things come and go. I think they were sold to a big to one of the pharmaceutical. As soon as these pharmaceutical companies buy these supplement companies, they go out of business. You ever notice that? Because they don't know how to manage them.
Of course.
I wish one of these pharmaceutical companies would buy my company for a ton of money. But so anyway, that's a great interview. You want to see that. I also interviewed Jenny Lynn. Do you remember Jenny Lynn?
I know the name.
Jenny Lynn won the Figure Olympia 2 years in a row. If you remember, when they started, they had fitness for a long time. But a lot of the girls had great physiques, but they couldn't do the routines. Because if you didn't have a gymnastics background, you didn't have a chance, basically. Jenny actually won the USA in fitness, but she really didn't have a great routine. And so she claims they created Figure for her. I'm sure they told a million people that. Right?
We're creating it for you.
Yeah. Devana Medina won the first Figure Olympia, and then Jenny Lynn won 2 of them, back to back. I think she beat Monica Brandt, a lot of people thought was going to be the heir apparent to that whole figure division, and she was pretty well known. She actually did we had a female radio show on RxMuscle for a while called Muscle Girls Inc. Back when podcasts were popular, and no one really was able to do them, but we had the technology to do them. And she had a show at the Della Garcia, so we had the two Miss Olympias, the Figure Olympia and the Fitness Olympia champ. And it was good. It was fun. We got along with, she did a good job. And then she went on. She said she did some kind of business. She made almost 7 figures on. And
wow.
Now she's back. You got to watch the interview with her.
What business she do? I want to do.
She was me too. She was involved with something. She had a lot of celebrity connections. So I don't know exactly what the business was, but it's a good interview. Kind of a rehash of what was going on back in the day. And so I like to do. A lot of people enjoy those old historical interviews. So she had contacted me. She's back in doing her. She has a new website. She's doing dieting for people, dieting girls down and guys down. So I let her come on because, like I said, we had some history in the sense that she worked for the RxMuscle, and so I wanted to see what she was up to. That's a great interview. It's up on the site. We also had we had BSA back for Iron Rage with John Romano, which was a great one. We were talking we talked about the misinformation about the ketogenic diet out there. People just don't understand anything about it, and they just what a lot of people, what they do is they have YouTube channels today, Chris, and they their whole goal on the YouTube channel is to create I guess you could say controversy. So they'll take any hot topic out there and they'll just take the opposite side of it and try to put it down, or they'll try to act like they understand the science of what's going on, and talk about things. And in hopes that people will listen to them because, I got to hear this guy's actually saying the opposite of what everyone else is saying now. I got to listen to it. And, so I get sick of hearing, I don't even know they're out there. People send me links to these things. Dave, you got to listen to this interview. This might be a good topic. And I'm like, what a fucking... I didn't mention the guy by name, but who did it. But I just talked about, I just debunked his logic and his science, or his pseudoscience that he was using. And it was kind of ridiculous what he was saying. But anyway, so BSA is always fucking entertaining as shit. Once he gets going, it's just like... you can't write this stuff. He's like perfect for anything controversial. Get him on and get him angry a little bit, and he goes.
Yeah, he's like a top. He takes off.
Yeah. Did you see Arnold Schwarzenegger is launching a new supplement line? No,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought he already had a supplement line.
No, he was hired by Muscle Farm a couple years ago to represent them. They made an Arnold line. It was a failure, obviously. Now he's launching something.
Let's see. Let me guess. Aaron Singerman's working with
Arnold. No, even Aaron can't get that high up. Arnold is teamed up with LeBron James, and I think it's the website. The idea is that you kind of customize the website will customize your protein supplement or your supplement stacks based on what your goals are and your weight. I don't know. There's some kind of computer program you put stuff into. I think it's going to work well because it's more. I think it's geared more towards mainstream people. It's not really geared towards bodybuilding, and it's for people who don't really know what supplements they should use. They kind of put their goals in, what they want to achieve, what they weigh, and what their experience level is, and I think it'll spit out
Why is Arnold doing a supplement line?
I don't know. I don't even know why he's even. To me,
I mean, it's like saying, Trump's buying a multifamily in Skowhegan, Maine.
Right. It's like when people say, Dave, why don't you open your own gym? I'm like, I don't have time.
I do have time. How about that?
It's just distracting me. He probably has someone else doing it for him. You know what I mean? It's like you ever watch, on Shark Tank. You ever say to yourself, how do all these sharks manage all these deals that they're making with all these people on the show? They obviously have full staffs of people that do it. There's no way they're handling it. They got 60 new businesses every year they're probably getting from this. So I guess Arnold figures, how could you go wrong with LeBron James? Arnold's good at networking with the right people. You ever notice that? He always has celebrities around him. You can't lose when you do that.
What was Planet Hollywood was a dud?
Who has more money, you think, Arnold or LeBron James now?
That's a good question. Can you Google it?
Maybe.
I don't know. LeBron
just signed that $150 million contract.
Yeah, I think LeBron.
Yeah, I think LeBron just, especially since Arnold got divorced, he lost half his money. So in the divorce. But I mean, if you have $100 million or $150 million, does it really matter?
Yeah, it does matter. It's all relative, right? That extra 50 is.
Jay would say absolutely, right? If I asked Jay that question.
Well, I mean, it's right. If someone has 100 versus 150, the 50 you could buy like a plane or cars or vacation home.
I guess at that point, I guess if you're into the highfalutin stuff, then I guess it does matter.
You could get a different. You could upgrade your. What do you have, Dave? Not a station wagon, but a.
Oh, my minivan. Not minivan. I have the.
My lease is up in February, and I get a. Oh boy.
You're gonna need some. You got a lot of kids. Let me tell you something. I'm not really into minivans, but the Honda one we have.
You like it?
It's so good. We got the top of the line one, so we got all the bells and whistles on it. The top of the line one is like so much different than the same one, only the bottom of the line one. In other words, it's the same model, but it's like they forgot to put all the components in it. It's like you go from like a Mercedes to like the worst car in the world. But it's the same model. It's the weirdest thing. It just has the same. It drives on the same like drivetrain. I guess I don't know. So anyway, it's very functional. It's with the kids and everything like that. And I wish that I could. I love the X5 I have, believe it or not, and we can fit my kids in it. But if you're trying to transport other stuff around, you have a lot more kids than I do too. So, but although your oldest probably don't need car seats anymore, do they?
No, they just need
car seats. What am I talking about? They're bigger than you are.
Yeah, I know they are. That's what's good. They need something to kill
you
their
need a
appetite
car. You need a car seat, probably. Yeah.
They eat so much food, it's insane.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the interview I did this past week, also with Milas Sacha and his the Chinese prodigy, the guy that he's.
Oh no, I didn't see it.
Yeah, Milas has got the Remember, he was been out in China for however long, for 3 months or whatever.
That's right. 3 months at 300 gram, whatever came first.
And Liu Chen Hui was his 6'1" Chinese client who won the. Japan Pro Amateur there, or Japan Amateur event, and got his pro card. So I got him on there. He's a nice guy. He's a super nice guy. His English is not great, so he had the little translator, and his translator is a huge RxMuscle fan. And Milas came on. It was the last day Milas was going to be there right before he left. So I said, Milas, let's get you in too. We'll have fun with it. And it was a good interview. I know people will enjoy it. It's gotten a lot of hits.
Anything with Milas is a good interview.
Yeah, he's very entertaining. Very entertaining. So, like I said, this guy's a really, really cool guy. He owns his own personal training certification course in China. He's a businessman. He does. He's not just he loves bodybuilding. This guy, but he's got his own business there. And so I guess he had money to fly Milas in. I said, Milas, what'd you make about him? About $500,000? Milas laughed.
If he didn't deny it, that's what he made.
No, he didn't deny it.
Okay,
he might have made more.
He
might have made more.
He might have made more, yeah.
I get news for you. Milas probably makes more money.
And if he made $410,000 when the interview ended, he would tell the guy, see, even Dave Palumbo says, yes, even Dave says I need to make $500,000.
I should at least get a basket of fruit on the holidays from all the business probably that Milas gets from us talking about him all the time. You would think I'd get like a little like holiday basket. Say thanks, Dave, for the for getting me all this business. Tom Platz told me that he got booked for like 20 different seminars in Europe because of the appearance he made on our show.
From the Olympia?
I don't know. We did a couple.
We did the wrap up. And everyone was
no. This was before that. No, I had gotten him on for an interview, like a full blown interview, and people just loved him. And he told me at the Olympia when he did the wrap. That's why he came and did the wrap up, because he wanted to thank me for for all the accolades, because they've been flying him over to Europe. He's been making a lot of money over there, and he should. He's got it. Let me tell you what great thing about Tom Platz is he's a great speaker, and he's motivational too. And he's knowledgeable. So, if you're looking for someone to come do a seminar, like just talk to people, maybe not educate them in the sense of like giving them the minute details of carbs, fat, and protein, but just in general like knowledge about bodybuilding and what you should look for and what things that, training wise. Tom is just like on the fucking mark still. He's as sharp as he was when he was, 25 years old. He hasn't lost a step. You know how some people, as they get older, they get a little. I'll probably get a little. You and I will probably get a little goofy when we get older, but not Tom. He's as sharp as a whip still. But that's it. You there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
thought I put you to sleep on that one.
No, you didn't. I was thinking about Tom Platz in his seminars, like the way he gives those seminars.
He did a lot of seminars back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah, he did. He was at the I knew Tom from 87, 88, 89 bodybuilding camp. See how far I go back?
Yeah, no, you really go.
I saw him every day in the summer from 87, 88, 89.
It's crazy.
You know, he used to train. He'd come up to the bodybuilding camp and train, or he'd train at Worlds. He liked to train at Worlds with less craziness compared to Golds, I guess.
I don't blame it. I am one of these people, and people don't understand it when I tell them that. They're like, "What? I don't like to listen to music when I train." It doesn't bother me,
it's a
but
distraction.
When I went into World Gym in Venice, I didn't realize that Joe Gold didn't play music there, and I was like, "Holy shit! This is I feel like I'm in church. This is great." I was able to focus so much. The silence. Sometimes silence is like the voice of God. That's what I always say, and it was good. But I understand a lot of people like to be motivated by music. But you could put. I guess you were able to put like a Walkman in your ears?
No, I don't like music.
No, not you. I'm saying, did Joe Gold let you put like your own earphones in there? Or no.
Yeah, he'd let you. He'd let you. But he had no music otherwise.
Yeah.
The only people I knew in that day, the people who used to train at Golds. At Worlds, was Samir would train there sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Platz a lot of times. Arnold was still training there at Worlds.
Right.
Bob Paris exclusively at Worlds. And I think that's about it. Otherwise people would train at Golds.
Yeah.
That was in the heyday, the heyday.
Right. Well, we had a little bit of action in the IFBB this past weekend. We had the Ching Chang Sanyo Pro, and that took place in Sanya, China. We were talking about that last week. And there was men's physique. Brandon Hendrickson won again. So he won the Olympia, and then he won two of these post-Olympia. It seems like men's physique's got a post-Olympia tour now, like the bodybuilders did, which is pretty funny. Tanel Rodriguez was second, and Zehu Zhang from China third. So congratulations. And then in the bikini, Lorelei Chapados she wins. She was second at the Olympia this year. She kind of came out of nowhere from Canada there, and she's been tearing it up. And Janet Lag was second. She's the perennial second place finisher. I feel bad for Janet. Janet's got such a beautiful physique and beautiful look to her. She's always snagging that second place. Always right behind whoever else is winning. So that was kind of a repeat of the Olympia. And then Elisa Piscini from Brazil was third. So that was, I guess, a successful China. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad we're seeing all these pro shows.
Tons of shows in China. I bet they bring you next year.
I wonder
why they find out you're going to Dubai.
Who knows? I wonder why they keep sending these, why they give the Chinese people and the Japanese people the end of the year shows. They got to give them better dates, I think.
Yeah, like post Arnold or running into the Olympia.
Come on, man. John Lindsay had the Tournament of Champions Pro Men's Physique show. That was won by Zavisus Gaydon. Congratulations. We feature him a lot on Muscle in the Morning. He'll be going to he won't necessarily be going to the Olympia. You brought this up, Chris, that you were kind of pissed off that one of your clients, who I guess won a pro show.
They just made an amendment.
Oh, they did. I didn't. So
yes.
let's go through what happened. So your guy won this Classic Physique Pro show.
Two of them. And they were kicked out, but now they're back in.
Well, no. What was happening was they had changed the rule that if you win a pro show, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you a trip to the Olympia. You have, if there's more than 25 pro shows in your division per year, like in Classic Physique.
I think this is a ridiculous.
I don't think so. I have to
ridiculous rule.
Well, no, because they go to the point system. There's too many people. Remember we always complained that there's too many people at the Olympia.
Then you know what? If you win a pro show, and you beat 30 guys in a classic bodybuilding show, and And
What
then
if-
you have to go to another show to win it again.
Well, what if you beat like 3 guys though, and it's a weak show?
Yeah, but there's no shows classic bodybuilding with 3 guys in it.
There's-
Even in Timbuktu, you know.
So anyway, so you're saying they changed the rule back now?
Yeah, because a couple people one guy who I helped, Jason Lowe,
Right.
he won the last
Show of the year.
Yeah, and I think he was not in, and then Fabio Lopes from Portugal was not in, and then this guy who just won a show last week.
Well, how would they know? The Olympia is it's still.
I don't know, but they anyways the
65 days away.
They came up with a new classic physique Olympia qualified.
What's the rule now?
The rule is Chris Aceto can't have more than 30% of the competitors, because right now
You have too many of the competitors.
I have 5 of the 15 qualified.
Do you really? That's
Yeah.
20%, right?
What's 5 out of 15? I don't know. What's the math?
5 out of
on that?
15. Oh, that's a third. So that's
That's a third,
third,
yeah.
Let me look at that.
And we got an asterisk next to Arash's name because I used to help him too, and he got second the year I helped him. So we put a little asterisk Arash next to your name, just
There you go.
a little
Piss a few people off.
dance down memory lane.
All right, so let me look at this. I'm looking at the qualification list now. It's pretty amazing that there's 15 people qualified already, and we haven't. 2019 hasn't even started yet, right?
Yeah, I know it is crazy. I just think if you win a show, an IFBB show, you know, a pro show, you should be able to go to the Olympia. Whether you never get say what happened, John. You were in the show. I look like crap. The guys are just better than me. They just made me stand there. I didn't even get. They didn't call me out.
I don't know. I think there's too many people. Yeah, it looks. I'm looking at the rule change. It looks like they changed it back. I'm looking right now. Now they're saying if there's more than 25 contests in a division, and the top 5 from the 2018 Olympia qualify, the top 20 in the point standings qualify. But if you win a show, you get a lot more points. If you win a show, you get 20 points. If you come in second, you get 10 points. So there's a big difference. If you win a show, you're probably going to the Olympia. You know, it's going to be very hard for you to get bounced out of there if you win a show, because the points they're giving for the win is so high. Well, that's for the Arnold, I should say. They're only giving, there's less points for the other shows. There's different tiered shows. Go on to npcnewsonline.com. I don't need to read this on the air. There's different points. I don't think they changed it, Chris. I think that you still have to qualify according to these points, because if there's more than 25 shows. Now, for the men's open and 212 and fitness, there's never more than 25 shows. So that's not even you don't have to even worry about it. It's always good. So if there's less than 25 shows, if you win a show, you're going to the Olympia, basically, guaranteed. That's good news for the open class winners. Not such good news for the men's physique and bikini, and I guess class. I didn't know there was that many shows for classic. Did you? I guess they added a lot to the schedule.
There's just a zillion of them now.
Yeah.
I just sent you a picture of someone doing the Dubai Muscle Classic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can interview him if he wins. There'll probably be like 400 guys in the show.
I didn't even know they were having a show. How about that? That tells you how in touch I was. I thought it was just an expo.
What do you think? It's just like a convention or something?
I thought it was just an expo, yeah. I guess they're having an amateur show. They're not having a pro show. They should have a pro show there.
Yeah, they give an amateur show. They give him $1.5 million on first prize, I heard.
Yeah, this guy looks good. He'll probably win. He'll probably win, for sure. Is it an amateur Olympia they're holding?
No, it's called the Dubai Muscle Show.
Okay.
That's it. Jay will be the freshest looking guy there, right?
Jay Cully, yeah.
Yeah, he'll. Where is he? He's probably traveling from China. Is he in China? I think he's in China.
Oh, he went to China for that show?
I think he did. Or Roden or something.
I wish I had the energy to travel to all these places to market my supplement line like Jay does and Aaron does. I just don't have the time. It's not worth it. It's like blood money for me. Can't do it. Can't be at it.
I get it.
Look, everyone listens to the thing. If you
blink and Logan will say, how's Logan doing? Good. He's like 32 now.
Yeah. No, the truth is, look, it's not fair to my wife to leave her for long periods of time. So I try to pick my travel, and you do the same thing, selectively. But the bottom line is that, at some point, it's like, it's too much. It's like it's exhausting. This Dubai show is going to be exhausting. I'm only going because the promoter and we talked and we met at the Olympia, and it's a star-studded event, and I want to really help them. And I haven't been in Dubai in a long time, and it is a business decision on my part too, in a sense. But I think being at the end of the year and I'm getting my shoulder done, I figure this will give me a lot of content for the site, so that people, our listeners, our viewers, can watch some great interviews over the December, month of December. Over the holidays, especially when there's nothing going on in the bodybuilding world, and we'll have all this great content. So that was the decision I made, basically. I'm hoping that I'm going to go to the Arnold this year. I didn't go last year, obviously, because my daughter was just born, but I'm hoping I'm going to be over there, assuming we have a sponsor, which we probably will. I'll be heading over to the Arnold. The Arnold is not a big deal because it's a quick flight.
I spoke to Aaron, and while we're doing the radio show, and I said, Aaron, can you get a 13,000 square foot room instead of a 16,000 and sponsor Dave?
Yeah, he'll do it. Maybe we could all stay in his in part of the 16,000 foot room. I don't even know if they have 16,000 square foot room. Aaron might be fighting with Arnold for the top hotel room in Columbus this year. Or next
you may have to crush him in the supplements. Say, Arnold, I beat you in the supplement sales.
Aaron's got a great guy. Have you seen this guy that works for Aaron now? Blessing, his name is. He's like a Kai Greene lookalike.
Oh, I know of him though. No, but I know of him.
He's a great. They did a great. He had Aaron does all these funny commercials. They did like a rap video. I think Blessing wrote it. He calls himself the Boogeyman.
That's what he's well known for. That Blessing. He's got crazy funny videos, right?
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of them. They're
he's
nuts.
like a cross between a Kai Greene, Clarence DeVise, and like William Bonac looking guy. And then he's got the personality. His personality is great, even better than Kai's. And he's very creative and
he's legitimately funny.
Yeah, he is. He's really good, and he's rapping in this thing. It's phenomenal. I love creativity. So, and he calls himself the Boogeyman. That's his nickname. How original is that? There hasn't been the Boogeyman is probably better than the Predator, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Well, one was given.
One
was developed by a creative person. The other one, Lonnie Teper, threw on.
I bet you Lonnie would probably change it. He'd be like, "Wow, Boogeyman's, that's so."
No, he'd criticize it because he didn't get a chance to.
Because he didn't do it himself. Lonnie would make up his own nickname for him. But
Lonnie has come up with more nicknames than anyone in the sport.
No, I gotta give credit to. Lonnie has the best nicknames. If on a percentage basis, Lonnie's nicknames are definitely overshadow anyone else's nicknames out there. And he would make them up spontaneously too.
Yeah, of course, that's why they're good because
he would be like announcing a show and he would just come up with a name and that would be the nickname and then they would stick, right?
Yeah.
One of the best ones is the Blade, Dexter Jackson, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
And people don't even realize why he's called the Blade. It's because he looks like Wesley Snipes from Blade, the Blade movies, the vampire movies. And then the double entendre is that he's ripped. So I guess the Blade is just it's just the perfect name for Dexter. Maybe Lonnie can sue for some royalties on some of these guys that really prospered.
Dex ain't giving no royalties back to.
Oh shoot. Maybe didn't William Bonac get into a fight with Louie Marco at this show, the Dubai Muscle Show? Isn't that where it happened?
What happened to Louie Marco and
he's gone.
William Bonac fight?
I haven't heard. Louie Marco has been missing in action. He's disappeared.
What happened was I think everyone piled on and he could dish it but couldn't take it.
Well, he confronted William Bonac confronted Louie Marco about something.
You can dish it and you can't take it. It's the perfect example of people blabbering behind a computer screen and then being I don't know the genesis of the frustration with
it was a misunderstanding.
Bonac,
but it didn't matter. It was a misunderstanding. But the bottom line is, you're right. It's once you leave once you leave the ivory tower, you're open to attack from these guys.
If you're going to criticize people and you're going to see them at William Bonac at a trade show, you
better be ready to back up.
That was the trade. Was that the trade show Darth Vader brought him over for?
It's possible. I don't remember. I don't know if I don't know if Bader's involved in this show at all. I don't think so.
No, but there was some show that Beta brought Louie over for, right?
Oh, that was a different show. That was one of his. For some reason, Bader doesn't have. It wasn't really that successful with promotion of shows.
Quiet.
But I did hear Bader did say that he might come to Dubai to interview with us. So we'll see if he shows up. You said he was missing in action, so I told Sid to reach out to him, and he wanted to fly. Bader actually wanted to fly Sid and I from Dubai to Kuwait. Did I tell you that?
No, you should have taken him up on.
Well, I just don't have the extra time to do it, so I said I can't do it. I just don't have time. I'm lucky I can go to Dubai. Plus, who the hell wants to fly to Kuwait from Dubai? It's going to screw my whole flight itinerary up. You know me. I can't be missing. You know that show Lost in Space.
Yeah,
That's you, Chris. How many times have you gotten lost in space?
It's ridiculous.
Because hurricanes and remember when the hurricane hit New York and you were stuck. How long were you in Europe for?
We were there
4 weeks?
like an extra. No, we were there another 5 days, and me and Roden were staying at a hotel that was just. There were no hotels anywhere.
Yeah.
So we had to stay in a place that was like $600 a night. So, I mean, then we decided, okay, we can get screwed by the airline and pay like $2,500 to fly back, or $600 a night. And they were saying, well, you can fly back in 2 weeks.
Oh, my God.
So someone had told me in Roden, if you drive from this airport to that airport, which is like 7 hours...
and 7 hours of driving in Europe is scary because it's not like you know the countryside.
There are 2 seats left. We can reserve those 2 seats left. One goes to, someone wherever he was going, and one goes to wherever I'm going. Like I could fly over the hurricane area, like over New York, and take a bus back.
Right.
Or wait 2 weeks. So we had a fan who's actually become a friend. We called him up and said, we need you again. We're like a Nasser, trying to befriend people.
Right.
And the guy came, Danny. I'll see him in Europe when I do the European Victory Tour with Roden.
Right.
And the kid came, took off from work, showed up 6 hours later. We packed our bags and drove us 7 hours, and we got on the flight.
He drove you 7 hours, this guy?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you guys owe him big time.
Oh,
now
we
that
owe him
Sean's
big
now that
time.
Sean's Mr. Olympia, he better do something really nice for this guy.
Yeah.
Seven. Because Chris, he drove you 7 hours, but he had to drive back another 7 hours.
I know that. You don't think I forgot?
So where were you? What country were you in?
We were in England. We were stuck in England.
And where did you have to drive to?
Like from I don't know. Who knows?
7 hours of driving in Europe. You can go to Italy.
I don't know. We were so. Think of it. It was that year 2012 where Roden won like every single show.
Right.
And we were in Europe.
God. So Sean had a bunch of cash on him, probably.
We were exhausted and.
So anyway, I didn't want to get stuck like you. Going to Kuwait and then getting stuck there. My wife will say, you know what? Just stay in Oxygen Gym. See if Beta has a room for you because you're not wanted back here anymore. That's what it turned into.
Yeah, of course.
And I got a surgery the following week, so I just don't want to start with the site. So I told Beta, I had Sid tell Beta, I said, look, just tell Beta to come take a trip. It's got to be like a half-hour flight probably to Dubai, I would think, from Kuwait. And so I think he might come. We'll see. And I'll sit down with him and we'll find out I want to find out the whole story, the whole Ramy story, because I'm sure. There's always 2 sides of every story, and I want to hear Bader's side. And then if I find Ramy in Dubai, I'll get his side too.
Well, they'll talk about being politically correct. Nobody will say anything.
No, we'll see.
Which is fine.
No, you know me.
Which is fine.
Well, if you should know me better than that. In person, no one's getting away with anything from me. If they want to lie and just not tell me.
Well, I don't know. Roger Stone was on your show. He got away with a lot. He's going to the camp.
Sure.
So
you might as well not even come meet with me for an interview if you're not going to be honest and tell me what's going on. That's what the fans want to know. Anyway, so that we started this show. I didn't really have an itinerary, and I didn't even have notes. And somehow we've talked for an hour and 20 minutes.
Lacy Rich. If anyone can report, any Lacy Rich, someone has to have their own little Lacy Rich story.
That's right. I'm sure I'll get 25 emails. So I have this week. I'm leaving, like I said, on Wednesday. I'll be back Sunday. We'll probably have to do the radio show. Well, we'll see how tired I am. You guys will get all the stories of all my adventures in Dubai and on the way to Dubai. Hopefully there are no adventures on the way to Dubai. Hopefully the only adventures are in Dubai. And hopefully I get back on Sunday. If I don't, then bad things are coming. No, but I haven't been in Dubai since 1996. And matter of fact, when I came back from Dubai, after flying back, it was a horrendous flight. It was a connecting flight. I told you that story a million times about people smoking on the flight. I was picked up. Right, I was picked up at the airport. Yeah, I was picked up at the airport, and we went right to a bodybuilding show because I had a bunch of friends in the show. I think it was the Eastern. No, it was the. Oh boy, what show is it? It was probably the Atlantic States, it was New York Metropolitans. Went right there. I had the worst. I hadn't slept for like over 24 hours at this point. And I went right backstage because my friend Josh Friedman was there and working backstage, and he said, I got to introduce you to Nasser El Sonbaty. Of course, the show is going full circle now, right? Back to Nasser again. Yeah. And Josh was helping. He was always somehow became friends with Nasser, and I had never met him at that point. And I think that was the first time I ever met him. And Nasser was guest posing, and he was getting oiled up to go backstage because I missed most of the show because I got back late, and and I was stuck in customs for coming through Kennedy Airport. So I get there, and Nasser's stripping down, and Josh like, Dave, take your clothes off. Come on, take a picture. You have underwear. I always had like the kind of like bikini-ish underwear. Take a picture with Nasser. I said, Josh, I feel funny. I was on a plane for 16 hours. I haven't eaten. I said, I'm depleted. I'm dieting for a show. I feel terrible. And it's Nasser's guest posing. He's not dieting right now. No, Nasser, you okay with it? Yeah. I'm sure he wasn't, but he didn't know what I looked like. So I stripped down, and Nasser was like looking at me like, oh, you were dieting for a show? Yeah. Oh, you look good, So he took the picture, and of course, everyone's seen the picture. I look pretty good next to Nasser, holding my own there in '96, and that's when Nasser was at the peak of his powers. So that made me feel good to see that picture after. It was, it's still, like I said, it still circulates, and I guess I kind of became friends. But at that point now, Nasser wanted to soak me for information after looking at me. He wasn't like jealous because he knew I wasn't a pro or anything like that, but he wanted to know what I was doing.
Yeah, if you knew anything. You wanted to know if you knew anything.
No, he knew I knew because Josh was bragging about me and everything like that. So he's like, "Oh, what do you?" The conversation immediately went to drugs somehow. Nasser loved to talk about drugs, and just like Milas does. Oh, so how many Dianabol do you take and growth hormone? He was taking notes after his guest posing. But he was good. I actually got along, and at that point I thought Nasser was like a really cool guy, and I looked up to him a lot. He was a pro. He had won shows. He was on the Olympia stage, and so I think wasn't that right after Milos put like 40 pounds on Nasser in like a month?
Let's see, 96.
Yeah,
95 was his big.
That was 95. Milos did that, but 96 he was like very well known. He was guest posing everywhere because of that Night of Champions victory, right?
Yeah. Well, he had the Houston Pro. He was phenomenal at the Houston Pro.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can find some pictures of Nasser from the Houston Pro. He was phenomenal.
Interesting. I never heard anyone mention that show, but yeah, and there's probably not a lot of photos going around of that show.
No, there's not, because he was really, really hard, gnarly.
So we started with Nasser. We'll end with Nasser. Nasser, we love you. I know you're up there. God rest your soul. And even though we had some funny run-ins, you were a breath of fresh air in the bodybuilding world. Even though you kind of got a little sullied at the end of at the end of your life, but I guess you had problems going on. And I'm forever grateful that we have Nasser stories to tell for so long, because there were so many of them, right?
Oh gosh, it's just anyone who's ever come in contact with him has stories. You know who has the best stories?
Who?
Peter McGough.
Oh, Peter knew Nasser well?
Oh yeah, he used to come up to Ouija's all the time, and Joe loved Nasser.
Oh, because Nasser probably said, Joe, you were the only one I could talk to because you were an intellectual businessman.
Intellectual. Yeah. Art. I like art. I speak 9 languages. You speak 1.
Because Nasser felt superior to Joe. That's the only thing. Nasser always came off as though he had a lot of money, right? Didn't he? And he might have.
Nasser came off like he had a lot of money, a lot of smarts, a lot of women, a lot of everything.
I think he lost a lot of his money in that divorce he had to his wife. He was, he had a very nasty divorce, and I know this because Nancy Norman. Now we're really going full circle. Nancy Norman was married to Trevor Smith at the time, and they were friends with Nasser, and they were living right near him. And when Nasser got divorced, he was a wreck. And Nancy went in there and she told me she had to get all his she had to get his finances in order for him and help him out, and she was helping him pay some bills. And then Nasser started getting very comfortable with Nancy doing that, and he started expecting it. Oh, Nancy, you missed doing this bill, and I need my groceries picked up. And she's like, Nasser, what are you I'm not your fucking slave. I'm not your wife. I'm just helping you out. Oh, no, Nancy, you must pick this up because I have to. My cleaners, I have to travel tomorrow. She's like, you go fucking pick it up yourself. Nancy, she's don't think any shit from anyone. I said, he really told you that? She's like, yeah, I was too nice to him. I said, well, that's what happens.
That's why I laughed so loud, because that's definitely...
The more I talk about Nasser, the more stories I start remembering about him. Isn't that funny?
I know. No, you got to ask Peter McGough. So right. Why don't you email or text
I don't think Peter likes us very much because of the whole... Well, what was it? When he bumped me? What did I say?
Oh, there was a... Yeah. What was that? There was a Sean Ray. Well, you have Sean Ray on the show. That's why I wouldn't even come on the show with that idiot.
Yeah, if Sean Ray can come on the show, I'm sure Peter McGough can come on the show. And the funny thing was that it was Sean that instigated the whole thing. It was Peter just got sucked into the drama of it, and then he bumped me and said, "Fuck you," or something. What did he say? I don't even remember what he said. See, I can't even remember. It wasn't that important.
No, because it was Sean who started it with stealing the interview. Blah.
Right, but
blah.
you know what? The difference is that Sean does everything for theatrics, and I know that he does. And Peter took everything seriously. That was the problem. It was rather than just realizing that, because you know what? He thought there was really disrespect being done, and he didn't know that Sean was causing all the problems. But that's another story. On another day. Right now, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.